Welcome to the channel. Tomorrow's my birthday, by the way. I'm going to do something special for my birthday tomorrow. Make sure you watch. Today I'm going to do a landscape. I'm going to sketch it out with a knife real quick with burnt umber. And I won't bore you anymore with the details. But I wanted to show you how I do it so you see every step of the way. So there's a little burnt umber there, and there's some black, okay? There's a little more burnt umber than black, and then just mix those two together. And we're going to use that to sketch a landscape, and then we'll paint over it. I'm going to try and do an easy one. It's Friday afternoon. If you've never sketched a landscape before, this is fun. This is where your creativity comes out. You don't have to follow a picture or anything. You do this all from your mind, okay? It's really fun. And even if you follow what I'm doing, your painting's going to come out a lot different, because you're going to use different colors. You're going to mix them different. All right, so you just mix those two together. Let's get started so the video's not too long. All right. Just keep a rag. You can keep a rag in your hand to keep wiping your night off, because believe it or not, that paint will dry on your knife. I just put a little roll on there. And then what I want to do today, let's have a low horizon. So this is a 16 by 20. Let's start down here really low. I want to have the mountains like about right in here, but I want to have them going off to the distance here. So you see that little arch I made there? So now let's put some mountaintops following that arch. You could just put them in real loose. They don't have to be perfect. Just put some peak tops in there. And then what I like to do now, I want this one is going to be in front. So I'll actually put some shading color on this side here so I can kind of see what it's going to look like if it stands out in front there. You see that? Just put a little color there. You can actually swoop a hill in here if you want, like that. And you could do that on the rest of them as well. Just put the shade of color on each side, draw it down. And what it's going to do, it's going to help you see how it's going to end up looking like. Let me zoom this in a little more. I'm doing a low horizon, which would be about, the horizon would probably be right about in here if the sun was going down. Because I don't want to have to do too much work down here. The painting will take too long. If you can put these mountains up higher and have less sky, but you'd have more landscape to work on. So what I'm planning on doing here, I think I want to have water over here. So we're gonna make an edge now down here. Starting back here with your knife, just pretend like there's water over here, okay? All in this corner, this is water, but now we got to make a beach here, okay? On where the water's going to be coming, keep your knife straight, okay? And we're going to create a shoreline right in here, okay? And if you keep your knife straight, it'll look right. It'll look like a sketch. And we'll draw this beach It doesn't even have to be a beach. It could just be, draw it down to there. So all this is going to be the edge. We can make this water here. So far we got some mountains going there. We got some land here. This land, we could just create some hills in here coming down. You see those hills now? Real easy sketch with, this is all going to get painted over, by the way. This sketch is just to help you design your piece. Now in reality, if you, I would want this, I would probably want this mountain a little taller here so it stands out more in the front. But I think it's going to be okay. And maybe these could have been down a little lower, but it'll work out. We got some good perception going on there, like it's running off to the back there. And this is a good mixture to use to sketch. It's burnt umber and black. Now, although I want this to be water over here, I actually want to turn this into a river. So we have to do the same thing we did on this side. We have to do it over here now. And we'll put the river coming from way back here. We'll put a little bit of land coming in here. It's really, just imagine now there's going to be a river coming down here. So now we need a little bit of land over here. Same way. Keep your knife straight. You want to create like some groundwork over here that's flat, just like that. And I think I like that. I think I like that. What I'll probably do is right here, I'll probably put bushes here, and then we can put a big tree here in the front. These bushes would be like in the foreground, and then we put a couple big trees going up into the sky that's in the foreground. There we go. There's the sketch. You don't have to do the clouds. The clouds, I'm going to probably have them run from here in a distance and get larger as it comes over here and get higher, so it looks like they're going off into the distance. I'll show you how to do that. Let's get started. So this isn't a 2-hour video. But look at that sketch already. Real simple. There's other things we can do here too. We can add a tree up here on the side to get something into the foreground, because this looks like it's pretty far away. It almost looks like the Grand Canyon, you know, and we need something up, something that's going to be in the foreground, either a tree coming on the side. We can do that last, and then a large tree over here. Let's get the sky painted first, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to use 3 colors. Let's just put some blue. Just put some blue down. This acrylic paint. You could use any acrylic paint you got. We'll put some blue, yellow, and red. Okay? And we'll mix all our colors with those colors. Here's yellow. And a little, I'm going to use Alzerian crimson instead of red. It's a darker red. That's all it is. But you can use red. I know it's pretty simple, but I'll tell you, these are the primary colors. You can't mix blue, yellow, or red. But all the colors come from these 3 colors. Every color comes from these three. And then you also need white and black, which I'll put down here. I'm going to use Mars Black, okay? They do make this carbon black, which is really black, which we don't want that. And then this is titanium white. It's not zinc white, it's titanium white. Usually how I do it, I'll put the dark colors over here and the light colors on the right. That's the way I do it. I can hold it here so you can see how I do it. And of course I got some water in here, clean water to clean my brushes. Let's mix some blue and then a rag. You gotta have a rag. I went and bought a bunch of rags and just cut them up, so I've got rags to wipe. Let's take a little bit of blue. You don't need much, because put it down here. This is going to be our sky color. A little blue. Now grab some white, quite a bit of it, because we got a big sky up there today. And get a light blue. Now your sky, it always is lighter than what you think. I always end up putting like a dark blue sky up there, but if you go out in nature, that looks pretty light right there, doesn't it? Let's put some up there and see what happens. So what I do between colors, I just rinse my brush off and wipe the water off like that. It's okay if your brush is a little wet. Okay, you can even dab it on the rag a little bit to dry it off a bit. But it's okay if you got a little bit of water on your brush. It actually helps the paint flow. Now that's a nice color for the sky, a light blue. So let's just put blue in here real quick. I want to fill the sky in real quick because there's a lot of area up there, okay? So let's just get some color in there. And now down here at the bottom, let's lighten this up a little bit. How I usually do it, I won't wipe the brush off. I'll just grab some white, mix it into that blue there, and bring it down to the mountains. And you'll get a lighter blue at the horizon. It'll automatically get lighter. Now acrylic paint dries pretty fast. Some of this is already dry, but some of it's probably wet, so you don't have to worry about getting a brown in your sky up there. Just come down to the mountains. To me, this is the underpaint. This blue. I'm going to put underpaint on the whole painting first, and then we'll start adding more colors. The whole idea is you could put a thin layer of paint down first, and then the paint will get heavier as we go on. You don't use water anymore. Less water. Right now you can use water to make this really thin for the underpaint, but as the painting progresses, you won't be using water anymore. Just use heavy paint. You build up on top of a thin paint, okay? So let's try and put, I'm going to grab a little bit of the blue now, right out of the tube, and kind of darken up my corners here. Just a little bit with that, a darker blue. Just so the sky looks different up top here. So we got some different values of blue going on up in the sky. I usually put gray up there, but today I'm going to do a blue. I can always add gray clouds in a little bit. I just want to do a simple blue sky. There we go. Let's do let's add a few streaks in now. Grab your brush, grab a little white, and we're going to try and create some cloud formations. Just take some white and pull it into the painting like this, and make some small ones down here at the horizon. Just add some white in there, and now blend the bottom in, just the bottom part, blend it into the sky. The bottom part of that, and we'll create some kind of distant clouds right off the bat that will come into play later. Just like that. It's good enough. All right, let's do the mountains. So I'm going to try and go fast on this one. Here's my black. I'm going to mix some of that black with my sky blue that I have left here. Just black. Right into that blue, light blue. We're going to use this color for the mountains. Let's add a little touch of white to it, just a touch. And let's add a little bit of the dark blue to it, just a little bit. We're creating like a bluish gray color, which is good for the mountains. And it could be any color you want, just as long as it's dark, because we're going to put light color on top of it. All right, so let's design our mountain peaks now. I like to just do the peaks first, just to get the peaks established. You don't have to make them all pointy. Make them like different shapes, like this one's going to curve up here. But just get your underpaint on like this. Now remember, we want these mountains to kind of come forward, like this, like a, see that? So this one's going to come down pretty big in the front here. This is going to be the main mountain in the front here. We're going to draw it down like this. There we go. That's good enough. Underpaint. It's just underpaint. So over here, this is going to be groundwork here. Let's make this all one same color. What color that seems to work good on a simple landscape is like a light brown I like to use, or it's either got to be a light brown or a dark green. So what we're going to use, let's use the burnt umber from the sketch that we sketched the paint with. And I'm going to add a little white to it and get like a, almost like a grayish brown color, a little darker, a little lighter. Let's try this brown color. I think it's going to be okay. I'm going to run a little bit at the back of these mountains and then bring it down to the beach. Just get the color to come down to the water where you think the edge of the beach is. It's almost like doing the tops of the mountains first. I'm doing the edge of my water first, and then I'm going to draw this paint back here in a second. But I'm trying to establish my edge of the water first, down here. We're just blocking in the color right now is all we're doing. Just think of it that way. And it doesn't have to be perfect just yet, but try and blend some of that into the gray now in the back here. Just take your brush at the mountain and the brown and maybe try and blend it a little bit into the mountain, just like that. Doesn't have to be perfect. All right, so there's our groundwork. Now we need to lighten this up back here from maybe here back. So what I do is just get a little bit of white on the tip of my brush, and let's lighten up this brown in the back with titanium white. Just put it right into the brown and lighten it up back here. Anything that's way off in the distance, you can leave this dark here. Let's put our water in now. We almost want the water to look like the sky color, a little grayer. So we're going to mix some more blue. Take the blue like you did the sky, a little bit of blue and some white, and we'll get a light blue color here. And we're going to put a little gray in it for the water. Because water really doesn't have a color, but the reflection from the sky will get into the water. Let's do over here. I'll make some ledges. I'll make one right here, like a drop off here. Because you could put like a drop here if you want. Let me see where I am on time. 25 minutes. All right. We got time. Let's do this real quick. The color that you used for the sketch, which is burnt umber and black. Let's make a little bit of a drop off here by pulling down. Just on these front parts, we'll create like a little drop off. And then the water is actually going to be more down here, okay? It'll be like a ledge, okay? Real easy. Just pull a little color down. That'll work. We'll have a, and then the ground will be up here. See? All right, let's do the water now. Back to the water. I got to put a little gray in it. So we'll just use that gray from the mountains and mix it in that blue. What it's going to do is like dull it down a bit so it doesn't look so bright, which is perfect for the water. All right, we're going to use that for the river. Get your brush. By the way, this is it's a acrylic brush. It's a number 12 filbert. It's round. I pretty much use one brush for this part of the painting, just getting all the color in. Now, see where I put that little, I pulled that little color down? Put your water underneath it. Okay, that's going to be like a little ledge there. Okay, same thing over here. This is going to be a ledge. And we got a ledge here. And one here. You could just leave those dark spots in for now. And just get a layer of blue down here. It doesn't have to be heavy. I got a lot of water on my brush right now, so it's kind of moving pretty easy. It's flowing good, the paint. I'm going to bring this blue all the way over here. Even though I'm going to have a bush here, I'm just going to fill in the painting with blue. Now, as the river goes back, we want to get lighter, so we can add our white right now if you want. Grab a little white, grab a little blue, and just make this light back here. Even more white. Really light color back here on the water. Just a thin, this is just a thin layer of paint. See how it looks like it's running farther when it's lighter? It looks like it's further away, okay? Now this painting, I think anybody could do right off the bat, even if you're a beginner. What I've done so far is not that hard. And acrylic paint, it's really cool. It dries really fast. If you want to sell this tomorrow, you can sell it. It's ready to go. Let's put our groundwork in here. Now over here, we got to add some color. There's no color in our painting yet. So let's make a light, a dark green for this whole area. Is going to be not too dark of a green, but we want a dark green. And guess what? We're going to have to make it ourselves. So let's use the color of the water for our blue. Let's add a little yellow in there. Let's see what kind of green we get. We'll make our own green. I think it needs a little more blue. I want it darker green. Just keep adding green or yellow and blue until you get the green you like. Let's see what that looks like. So with the green, we're going to do the same thing. We'll start our paint down here, and then as we get back here, we'll add a little white to it. Okay. Let's get started. grab your brush. I just rinsed off all the blue, and it's a little wet. That's okay. Let's put our green in here on top of the ledge. Let's just pull it straight back from our water. Just like that. It's a nice looking green. I think once you start mixing your own colors, it's really more rewarding. Because you can't get that green out of a tube. There's no way. I can't even tell you what that looks like. That looks like, probably looks like a mix of phthalo blue and permanent green, maybe. Now as we get back, we want to get a little lighter. So I'm going to grab a little white on my brush and lighten this green up for back here. Just a little lighter. As it gets off into the distance, things get grayer and whiter. And there we go. You go right over all those burnt umber lines. They'll look like shadows in the end when the painting's done, okay? Dark, lighter. At the transition, I call this the transition. Just rinse your brush off and then dry it. And take your brush at the transition and go over it. And then it looks like it's seamless, okay? Let's see where, wow, we're done. We're done with the underpaint. We are done with the underpaint. This is looking good. I'm going to lower the camera down because I think it'll look better from a lower shot. Like more even with it. There we go. That looks way better. All right, let me take a breather. 30 minutes. We got that done in 30 minutes. That's pretty good. Man, I really like that. It already looks like an oil painting, doesn't it? Do you guys think that looks like it looks like an oil painting to me? It's looking really good. Try and follow these same tips I'm using, and then you'll get your own style down after a while. But it's good to do it. You got to practice. I pretty much do a painting every day. Because if you only paint once a month, you're not going to remember all this stuff. You got to do it at least once a week, and then you'll remember all these little things you got to do. Like this is the point of the painting where you look at it and you can. I'll show you. Start seeing things. Okay. I'll pick out this mountain right now. Let me grab a small brush. I'm going to put a little bit of white on this brush, and I'm going to show you some things what you can do before you start painting, okay? Like this mountain here, I can kind of see, I want the peak to kind of maybe run, too much paint on there. Like maybe I want the edge to come down like this here. Like something like that. I see it turning like that. These look just like the way they are. This one I'm going to have I'll have all the light on the right today. So those are pretty much self-explanatory back there. And I can see what I'm going to probably do is run some trees, like all small trees back here and here, and maybe a bigger row here. So things like that. Just look at your painting before you get started. This is just going to be flat ground coming down like this, swooping down, just down to the river. Pretty good. I'm almost at 1,500 subscribers. If I need 2 more. If you haven't subscribed yet, that would be great. Get me to 1,500. All right, what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with these ledges first. I'm going to mix a little bit of brown, that burnt umber, with a little white. It's the same color I used to sketch it in, but I want to put these ledges in first, get them filled in with paint so you can actually see the ledges. I'll use a darker color here because the ground is already the same color. So these are going to be like rocky ledges coming down into the water. You can make them any size you want. It's like a drop off. So if you were standing up here, you could jump into the water here. Very good. I think I want to line this whole edge here with some brown. Just little things like that. All right, I'm gonna move on so this painting doesn't take forever. I'm gonna do the clouds real quick. I'm gonna do this. I call it an arch. Let me kind of paint it in here. So I want my distant clouds right back here. Distant clouds, and then what they're going to do is kind of they're going to swoop up like this, okay? And we're going to put a big one here, a medium one here, and a smaller one here, and it's going to look like they're going off into the distance, all right? Now, at this point, you don't need any water on your brush, so make sure your brush is dry. This I put up there is wet, so we don't want to use wet paint right now with water. We just want to use paint that's right out of the tube. Since this is a light sky, what I'm going to do is put just a hint of gray in the white. Just a small hint of gray. Okay, it's going to still look white, but you could either use gray or a blue. I'm going to try a little gray. basically it's white. Let's put a small cloud down here. And then as we come on this line, they're going to get a little bigger, okay? Each time we go up the line, we'll make the cloud bigger. And finally up here, we're going to have like the biggest one of all. Just put some color up there like that. I just stamped it in. Now take your brush at the bottom, and we're going to blend the bottom of the cloud into the sky, just the bottom part. Just get a little blend on it. You can go either way. Just blend the bottom so it doesn't have like a hard edge down there. You can pull it. Your top, you can actually pull your tops out a little like this if you want. Make it look like they're blowing. But just blend the bottom out a little bit on these clouds. The tops. Just like that. Now I'm going to put some gray underneath these clouds so they have a shadow. A very light gray. Let me show you how I do it. Grab a little bit of gray here and take some white and mix it in that gray. A little bit more. You don't want it, you want it just a little darker than the cloud, okay? Just a little bit darker. Just like that. That's good enough. Now we're going to put some shadows underneath these clouds so that it looks like they have some dimension, okay? Let's start on the small one here. Or no, let's start on a big one because I'll have to blend that in. Just take a little bit of gray. Let me put my puffer away. You don't want too much paint on here, so dab it on a paper, a rag, and let's put a little gray underneath these clouds, okay? Now wet your brush a little, and we want to blend the gray into the white a little bit. Get rid of that hard edge up there. You gotta wet your brush now, and because this paint, it dries pretty fast. But we don't want to leave a hard edge like that. You got to get that to blend into the white, just at the top. Blend it into the cloud. It's almost like we did over here on the transition. You got to have a transition in your clouds as well. If you want them, I mean, if you don't, it'll still look good. All right, there's our clouds. That looks pretty good. Let's put some gray down here on this one. And this one here. Clouds take a little time, a little practice. There's so many different types of clouds you can make. But all right, those look pretty good. Wow. Now I think this is dry enough where you could now uh, come back with some titanium white. And what I'm going to do is hit just the top part of these clouds with brighter white. You're going to see a difference in these clouds now. Just add a little bit of white to it and then pull it down into the cloud. Just to brighten it up again. You don't have to do the whole cloud. I'm trying to do just the top edge of it, okay? Just the top edge of the cloud, just to give it some more brightness up there. Very good. All right, we're going to move on to the trees now. I want to put some trees in now. This might not be the best brush. You can use a fan brush too on your clouds. This brush is a little too big. All right, let's put some trees in. Before you're done with your painting, you can make sure you do the edge around your mountain. Get rid of all that white around there. Either put a light blue or a cloud there. It's looking pretty good. Where am I at? 47 minutes. It's a nice simple landscape. This is where it's going to get, we got to add some bushes in here. I'm going to use a number 2 fan brush. I'm going to put some shrubs in here now. We're going to use the burnt umber from the sketch. Burnt umber with black. Okay. Just fill up the fan brush. And we're going to put some bushes right on the edge of this water here in some places. Just touch some color back there. Really small. And you could put some trees back here as well. Remember those white lines I made here? These are going to be distant trees right on the edge of the cliff there, going back up the mountain. And then just pull your bottom. Pull the bottom of the tree line out when you're done, because it'll look like a shadow then. Plus it blends it in and you get rid of that hard edge I was talking about. See that? See how cool it looks? It gives it a finished look. you're pulling some of this dark color out into the painting, and it also blends the bottom of the tree line, and it makes it look finished, okay? All right, so there's some distant trees. We could keep coming. These will have to get a little bigger here, okay? Because we're getting closer to the viewer's eye. So we'll just put some larger trees here. Pull the bottom kind of to the left. Don't pull it straight down. You got to kind of follow the angle of the ground. Just like that. Treetops there. This is looking pretty good. It's a good piece for a beginner. You can leave it like this if you want. You don't have to put a big tree in here in the foreground if you don't want it. Put some bushes down here as well, just around the edge. Let's see how this is looking in the frame. Really good. I got 2 of you watching still. That's good. Thanks. Disappointing's on. Good to see you. I'm glad you're chatting. I get a few chatters here and then. Oh, you haven't even seen the mountains yet. Let's put some snow. Let's do the mountains. That's what a lot of people say that's my best part. So now after saying that, I don't want to mess it up. So I'm going to use a knife and put some color on my mountains. Although, I mean, they look good. They look good the way they are, but now if you do it, just put a little roll of white, and let's start on each peak. Let's just pull a little bit of white down on each peak first. This one's going to be in front. Just follow the angle of the mountain back there. Pull a little bit of color down. Do each peak first, and we're going to get an idea what they're going to look like, okay? We want to put some dimension. Have you ever seen a pyramid, how the pyramid has like angles on it? That's what we're trying to create, some dimension on those mountains, okay? You have to see that in your mind before you get started, okay? Let's put a little more snow here. And the more color you pull to the right, it'll make the mountain look longer, okay? Pull it, like here's my center point here, but I pull that mountain way over here so it looks longer, okay? Just don't come straight down. You got to pull this snow kind of sideways, okay? Like it's a hill there, okay? Really look at your mountain and see how the mountain's gonna come down, okay? This one, we need a little more snow on the peak here, right at the top. You don't need to put a lot of white on, okay? Just use a very little bit of snow at first. want this guy to be in front, so I'm really kind of defining this edge right here. Okay, there we go. We got some cool snow up there. I'm going to mix a little blue and white for this side now. Just take a little blue, a little blue, a little white, and you're going to get a light bluish color, almost like the water in the sky. Light blue, okay? Same thing, we're going to add a little gray to it. A little more white. A light bluish gray. Let's see what that looks like. So we're going to add this color to the shady side of the mountain here. Just come right up next to the white and pull some of this color. Try not to cover your white. You can put a little bit of this color out here on the mountain next to some small parts of the white, but just a little. It's looking pretty good. These small spots, there's a small side of the blade here you can use for these tight areas. Trying to go fast, but even see how this white is running sideways? You can still put a little blue underneath. It'll look like a drop off there, like a cliff, okay? Now for these two here, let's add a little more white to it. A little bit of white to the blue. Because these back here are further away. We don't want to use the same blue color. We want it to look a little lighter. Because it's getting further away from our eye, and it's not going to be as dark. Okay. All right. I kind of rushed that, but you get the idea. There's the mountains. Looks pretty good. I take a wet brush right now, and you can keep a rag in your hand and blend this lower part of the mountain in. Just this lower part with a wet brush, okay? Very lightly. Just get a little blend on those colors down there at the bottom. Just a little blend. It's going to help the mountain look further away, okay? Just a wet brush and very light blend on it. Very good. It's looking pretty good. I want to put some trees on this. See where this mountain is right here? I want to put some trees on the bottom edge of it. So it covers that part of the mountain. Okay. Just put some round trees down here. Same thing, pull the bottom to the left. Create some groundwork down here. When those dry, they'll look like a clump of trees down there. Same thing over here, and I think I'm gonna call it, here, I'll do this here. I'll put up some trees here, right at the bottom. Just some normal trees. Maybe these are maple trees. And then I'll do one. You can put one indication. Maybe there's an evergreen tree behind it there. Just like that. You could do a couple of them to make it look like maybe there's also some evergreen trees. Just like that. That's all I'm going to do on this one, guys. I don't want it to take forever. And I'll probably finish this up and I'll put a picture on the community page. Now underneath all this land, take your knife and put a water line underneath all these pieces of land here, okay? And just pull it out into the water. Titanium white, okay? And edge the bottom of this river. It's a big river. Keep your knife straight, okay? And just pull the white straight into the water like this. But you gotta edge all this stuff here. You can also take a liner brush. This is the brush you use to sign your name. And you can actually just line it with the brush if you want. Okay, but you got to get some white underneath all that land back there. It goes quicker with the liner brush. But you'll see the difference once I put it up there. See how it makes it look like it's finished? The edge is finished off then. This is just a quick way to do it. Okay. But you still got to put water lines out in the river itself. But make them small back here and get bigger as you come up forward. You don't even need them back there. That looks good. Make it white back there. All right, there you go. That's a nice picture so far. I think that's a really good one for a beginner. I'll probably put more clouds in it, and I'm gonna put a tree coming from the side over here, a big tree in this part of the sky that looks like it's in the foreground, and that's it. But man, look at that river. That thing is awesome. I'll show you one more thing before I shut off on those cliffs. You just take your knife and put a little bit of white on your knife, a little roll, and just pull some color down those cliffs, straight down, and it'll make it look like rocks, okay? Just a little bit of white. There you go, guys. Thanks for watching. Let me put the bubbles on. Yeah. Look at that. You can move the bubbles. I'm going to put a dance light on there and watch the colors change on this thing. You get different colors in that landscape. Look at that. All right, guys. Let me see who's on. I got a lot of new things coming up, so tonight I'm going to do an awesome video with it has to do with these smaller canvases, okay? You don't have to hang these up. They're good to sell when you're out selling your paintings. People like to put these on their desk. They sit on the desk really nicely. They're really thick. So that's coming up next. So have a good one, and we'll see you later. Ciao.